Um, I don't buy that my students can't do the things that need to be done. I said to a group of students after one of the gambling forums I spoke at, when they said, well, they won't listen to us, what do? We can't do anything. And I said, you guys can put together a party with 300 people at it in 2 days through text messages, Twitter, and Facebook, right? So you're telling me that you can't organize the necessary amount of people to make something happen? That you can't use the resources that most of the people that are leading us have no idea how to use, right? I mean, we saw this during the electoral campaign, the failings of the political party when it came to social networks, to Twitter. I mean, it was just deplorable, their usage of it. We use these things like they would use a rotary phone from their era, right? It's something that just comes naturally to us. And we have the tools and the ability to kind of make those things work for us. What is missing, though, I think, and perhaps this is where the problem is the tools to think around these problems, right? To identify what the problem is and how to act. And that's no fault of my college students, right? I mean, they can be proactive about it and begin to change that, but they have not been given the kind of mental tools through the educational process that is needed to come to some kind of conclusion about how they would organize themselves, or even why organizing is important. And I think it becomes my task and my colleagues' task here at the College of the Bahamas to equip our students with those tools, so that they can then use the things at their disposal to make the kind of changes that we expect them to make. But until then, I don't see my students feeling inclined or moved to take on the world around them, because they don't really they're having difficulty understanding what's going on. And so what I say to the college student who might be interested in making a revolutionary or radical move is to first start with educating yourself. Second, organize those around you. And third, find something to advocate for. Education, organization, and advocacy. Those are the keys, I think, to changing both the discourse and our material lives around us. Without kind of focusing on those three things, I think everything is for naught at this point. When we speak about kind of the mental tools that some of our young people are lacking when it comes to how we deal with the problems we're faced with around us, one of those tools is a history that they see themselves in, that embodies who they are, that gives them some kind of sense of where they come from. And that history suggests, to me at least, perhaps not to other people, that when the Bahamian people get fed up, or when the Bahamian people get fed up, they talk about it, they organize, and if they're not listened to, they break something, right? Let's take the Burma Road riots, for example, and unfair pay. And I think one of the things that we have to realize from that history is that we cannot be well behaved when it comes to unfair treatment. We cannot be well behaved when it comes to discrimination. We can't be well behaved and respectable when we want to change the system around us. In fact, it behooves us to be as disrespectful and irreverent as possible when it comes to trying to alter our world around us. And so for people who are interested in or who are looking around them and saying, what is happening to the country that I grew up in, which is how I feel, what is happening to the jewel of the Caribbean, and what can we do about it? I can write as many articles, I can teach as many classes, I can have as many in-depth philosophical conversations over wine in the West as I want to. But we also have to remember that it was the ragged black working class that stormed Bay Street. And they were not being well behaved when they did it. They stood up, they asked for equal pay, and when they weren't listened to, they broke something. And I think we have to stop trying to be as respectable educated, intellectual young Bahamians and focus our energies on an irreverence, on a disrespect to the system around us that is constantly disrespecting us, by the way. We have to focus our energies in trying to tear that system down. One of my favorite French philosophers, Michel Foucault, says knowledge is not just for knowing, knowledge is for cutting. But the most important thing is once we know, we have to cut something. We have to break it down. We have to undo it. We have to shave it off. We have to chop it up. That is what knowledge is for. And as we begin to figure out more about the world around us, the systems that edify us, that train us, that punish us, that police us into particular behaviors, we have to become conscious about that stuff and learn to unravel it, learn to break it, learn to cut it, as Michel Foucault might suggest. And that takes a kind of disrespect and a reverence that is encapsulated in our history, and that is also a part of who we are as Bahamians, and that is necessary for who we can become going forward. And I think that is important to note.